to make sure you see me. I see you. Can you hear me okay? All right then. I think I can see the people in the back. I didn't have glasses the last time I did this. Wave your hands. All righty, I see you. You look good, class of 2023, and our part-time students graduating in 2024. I just want to start my conversation with you, letting you know that that song that you heard, some of you must be old enough to remember that song, that I think of as my resilience anthem, troublingly tarnished of late by the artist who sung it, but still, the core of that song, at the heart of this song, is about what it takes to get stronger, more fearless, more determined, like you haven't even started yet. And the reason that's important is because, let's be honest, it has been a hard few years in all of our worlds. And that's no less true in the world of education. If you take a look at some of these facts up here, we know from some of the faculty at our own school here at HGSE that there's been up to a half a year of learning losses from COVID remote learning. There's a projected 3 million student decline in enrollment through 2030. There's a report that says that 55% of educators want to leave the profession. We've had stagnant reading and mathematics scores for the last 20 years. Public confidence has gone down, and there are continuing gaps in achievement by race. And those are just a few facts. Now, those facts do not make me feel despair. For some people, they say, how could we accomplish what we want to accomplish in light of these facts? But they don't make me feel despair, and I hope they don't make you feel despair. I hope what they make you feel is stronger, more determined, fearless, like you haven't even started yet, because that's what it's going to take for us to make these changes in education. So when you are feeling like it's hard to move forward, I will tell you, just like Bridget, I went to school at Harvard. It does seem hard at the beginning, but this resilience anthem is not just for education, it's a resilience anthem for you as well. Now, as you are taking these thoughts in about how you can do even more, I don't want you to just be thinking, of course we can bounce back. I want you to be asking the question, how do we start bouncing back? And the reason that's an important question to ask is because many of us have a vision for what we want to be different in terms of educational opportunities and outcomes. And we often have in our minds some problem that we might overcome, some new policy, some new program, some new initiative. But the question we often don't ask ourselves is, what's in that little arrow? How do you actually go from problems and possible solutions to this vision we have for making the world better? And what I want to tell you, as someone who studies organizations, is that every single thing you think you might want to accomplish in education, whatever the new policy is, whatever the new program is, whatever the new initiative is, it happens from inside of an organization, be that a school, a district, a university, a nonprofit, a startup that has gone to scale. Every single thing you think you want to accomplish in education happens from inside of an organization. And that means this question of how do we bounce back is really a question about how do we develop organizations to change in ways that make it possible for us to accomplish our educational vision. So I want to be very clear with you in our conversation today that what I am hoping you will begin to open yourself up to while you're here at HGSE is the idea of how do you understand and develop organizations better. And let me give you an example of what I mean. One example from my own research about how social relationships and networks matter in organizations. Most of the time when we think about relationships, we might think, okay, there are some people who know each other, like Alice and Bill and Donna and Chris, and we think, oh, are they friends? But people who study relationships, like me, know that there are really 5 different dimensions of those relationships. Not just who the people are, but also what the pattern or structure of relationships are. What do I mean by that? I mean, what if those 4 people aren't people but dots? What if Alice talks to Bill, and Bill talks to Chris, and Chris talks to Donna, and Donna talks to Alice? You get a nice, neat square, right? But that's not the only pattern that's possible. I'm going to slow down because I want you to think with me. Here's another pattern where Alice talks to Bill, and Bill talks to Chris, and Alice talks to Donna, but Donna and Chris never talk. What about this pattern where Alice and Bill and Chris talk, but nobody talks to Donna? Or this pattern. Let me ask you this. Put your Harvard student thinking caps on. Which one of these patterns is better for spreading new ideas? Okay, listen, who said D? Put your hand up. D? D? All righty, if you said D, you are correct. But you know what? This pattern D is good for spreading new ideas, but you know what? It's not the best pattern for coming up with new ideas, for innovating in certain ways. It's also not the best pattern for spreading controversial new ideas, ideas that go against the status quo. So what I want you to be thinking is, okay, I want to change organizations. How can I do that? What role do relationships play? They play a big role. As some of my co-authors and I have demonstrated, one role they play is how teachers understand the reforms they're being asked to implement and how they ultimately respond to them. Teachers in some communities who interact with one another think about reform as something professional, bureaucratic. Some people think about it as being about market accountability. Other teachers, depending on their community, think about it as being actually about a communal sentiment amongst children and students. So reform is partly related to the way people interact in their communities. But reform is not the only thing relationships are important for. Relationships are actually one of 3 reasons why it can be hard to bounce back. Because relationships in organizations create these conditions. In organizations that are also institutions, people have a way of interacting, identifying with certain groups that make them feel rewarded for going along with the accepted practices of their peers. So being able to change those relationships, to develop them in ways that help us make a difference in our organizations and for the people we serve, both students and staff, that's one key to bouncing back. Now, in the 11 seconds I have left, I am immodestly, with no shame, gonna tell you 2 ways that you can learn more about this. Here are my 2 classes, one in J-term, one in the spring. For those of you who don't come, I still love you, but you also have to get busy getting to work, learning how to help education organizations bounce back. Thank you very much.